Shut up and sit down.
Howdy guys, Andy from Bigmeks Workshop, and it's White Dwarf time again. So let's have a look at what we've got. So out front, this is November's White Dwarf, and it says there's a free gift extravaganza. So we're going to put that to the test. It looks like you get some artwork and some in-game cards for Depths of Titanicus, Blood Bowl, Beastgrave, and Aeronautica Imperialis. So those of you who play those games might be of interest for you there. So straight on into the inside, not open this as you can see, and let's get going. So tip it all out, let's see what we got. So we have the Sabbath Worlds Crusade by Dan Abnett artwork. So you've got obviously Celestine. That's what it looks like anyway. One of Gaunt's ghosts, and a very, very cool little picture there. The game cards are the NAF Fun Police for Blood Bowl. Play at the start of any drive while setting your team. Until the end of a drive, every time your opponent plays a special play card, roll a d6. On a 1, your opponent may play the card as normal. On a 2 to 5, the card has no effect, but may be played as normal in a later drive. On a 6, the card has no effect and is immediately discarded. Pretty cool. Predator. Become an Apex Hunter. +1 damage to the fighter's attack action. This fighter cannot make attack actions other than those on their fighter card. This upgrade can only be used in games of Apex and cannot be included in any decks and cannot be removed from this fighter except as described in the Apex cards. So I'm assuming that means something to you guys. Rudok Reds, the Grot Bomber Ace. A single Grot Bomb may be fired by this aircraft. May be piloted by a Rudok Reds for +2 points. When moving, Rudok Reds may make up to 2 turns with his Grot Bomb rather than the usual 1. And last but not least is the Miracle of Mars. Play with stratagem at the start of a damage control phase. Player chooses one of their Titans and places this card next to its command terminal. At any point during a Titan's activation, that player may discard the card to cool the Titan's reactor. To see how effective this is, roll 2d10 and add 5. If the result is 7 to 15, reduce the reactor level by d3. If the result is between 16 and 24, reduce the reactor by d6. And if the result is 25, remove the reactor tracker to its leftmost hole. And that is a cost of 3. So onto the White Dwarf itself. Let's see what's got going on. So we've all seen the preview by GW, and so we know there's going to be some inquisitorial stuff in here. So let's get on with it. So Sister of Battle are coming up, but we've got some of the older inquisitorial stuff. The old Karazmov model, a Demon Host, one of the old Jakara dudes. And even Torquemada Cortez, I believe. And I can never remember her name, so apologies there. Right then, get past the contents, because that's not important. Straight on to the miniatures. This is the bit we're interested in, isn't it? So, as always, got some lovely entries for the readers' models. Nice Chaos Sorcerer there, kitbashed from one of the regular Marines and a Master of Possession. Very nicely put together, actually. The glowing on the fire is particularly great. A lovely shock attack gun. I do like the shock attack gun model, and also the idea of the entire thing is just so cool. It's great. It's really nicely painted. Another one by Guillermo de Bert, who was quite heavily featured last month. So yeah, he's been knocking out some lovely stuff. The Lord of the Blights dude, really nice rusting effects on that shield and the hammer. All in all, some really nice stuff. Good to see. So, spotlight on Mark Vanard. Do apologise if I pronounce any of the names wrong. I will no doubt be butchering them from time to time. And these are the Angels of Caliban, the Dark Angels themselves, and all Primaris up. The brighter green is an interesting idea. It looks a bit more salamandery than traditional Dark Angels, but the painting quality is lovely. Nice Primaris scale Azrael style model. Not sure if it's meant to be Azrael or just a master, but he's definitely got the same equipment. This dude here with a nice power sword and storm shields, a nice little setup. Yeah, so really nice stuff. The paint works flawless, but as far as the colour, I prefer the Dark Angels a bit more deeper green, but that's a personal preference to me. So, the Worlds of Warhammer, talking about the background of 40k and Warhammer, just talking about how they go about making their the lore series and books. Obviously, as you know, guys, this is a regular feature. We're even bringing in some of the reference to the old Rogue Trader stuff, which was a little bit wacky. And now we've made it, obviously, as it is now, which is much more serious, but also we've factored in continuity now, which is so nice. And I'm going to continue talking about that. So now on to 40k. Let's see what we've got going on. So this is Echoes of the Warp, talking about various different games, tactics, and this is Robin Crudis, and although this month it's James Gallagher. He's talking about it rather than Rob Crudis, and he's having a chat talking about the different methods of the game itself. So, Kill Team, and where you would need to get the particular rules for the for individual sections. So, short story, Auto Xenos having a bit of a face-to-face with what looks like a Gene Stealer cult. So I'll have a bit of a read of that later. And Index Imperialis, the Inquisition. So let's see what we get. Obviously, as always, loads of fluff about the stuff, which is a hugely important part of the game itself. And some new mentions. So let's see what we've got here. The Quarry. Obviously, you pick your auto. So it looks like these are largely unaligned with, unchanged, from the Index stuff. Auto Malleus, when resolving an attack made by this model against a Chaos or Demon unit, reroll to hit and reroll the wound. Same again for Hereticus, but against Chaos or Psychers. Auto Xenos is against Xenos only. Auto Minoris, when resolving an attack made against a model in this unit against a character, you get the same benefits, reroll to hit and wound. By authority of the Inquisition. If your army is Battleforged, the following rules apply. No more than one Inquisitor can be used in any Inquisition detachment. That is a detachment that includes only Inquisition units. Infantry units with this ability can embark on any Imperial transport, even if that model normally permits models with other faction keywords to do so. All other restrictions normally apply, and Inquisitor or Terminator models can only embark on transport models that are allowed Terminators. If your army does not include any Inquisition detachments, one Inquisitor unit can be included in any detachment without taking up a slot, as long as every unit in your army, with the exception of those that are unaligned, has the Imperium keyword and does not have the Fallen keyword. That Inquisitor unit does not prevent other units from your army benefit from detachment abilities, i.e. chapter tactics, and does not prevent abilities that require every model in your army to have that ability. Example, combat doctrines, canticles of Yamnasire. In a match play game, the Inquisitor unit is ignored for the purposes of the Battle Brothers rule, although all units must still have a Imperium keyword. So that's interesting that you can throw an Inquisitor in a Space Marine detachment and not lose combat doctrines. So unlike the Assassin, who does mess your doctrines up, the Inquisitor doesn't, because he does what he wants and everyone else has to toe a line. So there's 4 new stratagems here as well. 3 of which are single point ones, and 1 is a very expensive 4-pointer. So we're going to go to this the 1-pointers first, and you have to obviously have an Inquisitor unit in your army to have access to these. So, Inquisitorial Mandate. With complete authority to pursue threats, Inquisitors are a potent presence in any of humanity's armies. Use this stratagem before the battle. Select 1 Inquisitor model from your army that is not your warlord, and determine 1 warlord trait. It is regarded as your warlord for the purposes of that warlord trait. If that model is not named as is not a named vehicle or character, you can then give it 1 relic of the Inquisition to that model as well. All of the relics in your army must be different and must be given to different models. You can only use this stratagem once per battle. So you can get for 1 point, you can have a relic and a warlord trait on a single Inquisitor. Pretty handy. Seize for interrogation. 9 stages of interrogation await those captured by the Inquisition, each more terrifying than the last. Even in the field, excruciators will pry secrets from the minds of those captured. That's an interesting little play on things, because obviously that harks back to the 9 circles of hell. So it's a nice link to that, because being interrogated by the Inquisitor has got to be pretty unpleasant. Use this stratagem in any phase after an enemy character unit is destroyed within 3 inches of any Inquisition units from your army. Gain D3 command points and subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic of enemy units until the end of the battle. You can only use this stratagem once per battle. So that's a very powerful stratagem. Once per game, kill a character, get some command points, and mess up the enemy's leadership. Pretty cool. Requisition. The remit of the Inquisition is such that all the Imperium's men and women must abide by its agent's demands. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase, the fight phase, or your opponent's charged phase. When an Imperium infantry or Imperium biker unit from your army that is within 6 inches of a friendly Inquisitor unit fires Overwatch or is choosing to fight or shoot with. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit against any enemy unit specified, that Inquisitor's unit quality ability reroll hits of 1. So it can throw out rerolls of 1s to friendly units. So it does allow you to extend them auras, what you've got knocking about in the army. And finally, cyclonic torpedoes. Those of you who are interested in fluff, you'll have heard of these, especially at the Isvan 3, where cyclonic torpedoes and the Life virus were fired at the Legionnaires. So let's have a look at this. This is 4 command points. Few have the authority to condemn an entire world to the fires of exterminators. An Inquisitor has such power and the arsenal to deliver it. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase. If an Inquisitor model from your army is on the battlefield, select 1 point on the battlefield and roll 1d6 for each unit within 2d6 inches of that point, subtracting 1 if the result subtracting 1 from the result if that unit being rolled for is a character. On a 4+, the unit being rolled for suffers D3 mortal wounds. You can only use this stratagem once per battle. You can probably only afford it once per battle, to be fair. But it is very cool. It's always nice to throw mortal wounds around, and it's very expensive. But anyone can see you're doing it on a 4+ or 5+ against characters, rather than 4+ or a 6+, what you often see. So that's going to hit fairly hard and with potential being incredibly powerful with the 2d6 range. So we have got some potentially updated Inquisitors. Greyfax. Again, I can't remember any of the stats off the top of my head. So we've got Greyfax, Tocomida Cortez with his Thunderhammer and Unquestionable Wisdom. Inquisitor Karazmov with his Funky Chair. Eisenhorn, which got released as an independent one a little while back. A standard Ordo Malleus Inquisitor in Terminator armour. So it looks like that's the only way you can have Terminator suits. It does make them quite tough though. Gives them 6 wounds rather than the normal 5. Let's have a look. Unquestionable Wisdom. Friendly Imperium units can use this model's leadership instead of their own whilst they're within 6. You can teleport in. It can manifest 1 psychic power and deny 1 psychic power. It also knows Smite and 1 from the Telethesia discipline. And has a whole list of options what you can play around with. The standard Inquisitor is always a Psyker by the look. Can be made a Psyker, or you can, which allows him to deny, or you can make him a Psyker, which then makes him be able to cast as well. So that's not changed. Power of 4, 5 wounds, pretty cool. Options for the Demon Host now, which is an elite slot. Let's see. At the start of its movement phase, roll a day 6, and apply the result. On a 1 or 2, the unit has a movement of 12 and fly. On a 3 or 4, the model regains all its lost wounds, which would definitely be annoying. On a 5 or 6, roll 1 dice for each enemy unit within 3 inches. On a 2+, the enemy suffers D3 mortal wounds. So it looks like the Inquisitors are going to be able to dish out some mortal wounds all over the place with the right results. So you've got the Jakero Weaponsmith, the old little orangutan dude, which can then inconceivable customization. It only lasts to the end of a turn, but you can get a random upgrade to all your weapons, or to one of your weapons. So not as powerful as it used to be, but it's still pretty cool. And the Acolyte, if this unit contains units of 1, so you can have multiple units, or you can have between 1 and 6 with Last Pistol and Chainsword. If there's only one of them, they gain the character keyword, but it only applies at the start of a battle. They can also suffer mortal wounds for your Inquisitors as well, which is kind of handy. Warlord traits. Okay, as always, you've got the well, actually, there's only 6. There's 3 auto-specific and 3 generic ones. So Radical, once per battle round, you can reroll 1 hit roll, wound roll, damage roll, saving throw, psychic test, or deniable witch made for the Warlord, which is pretty cool. Puritan, improve the Warlord's invulnerable save. Formidable Resolve increases leadership, and also increases the Unquestionable Wisdom ability by 6 inches, so that makes it 12, which becomes a massive area of the table. Ordo Hereticus. This Warlord can perform a heroic intervention if there are enemy models within 6 instead of 3, and when doing so can move up to 6 inches. When an enemy unit within 1 inches of this Warlord is chosen to fall back, you can roll d6 unless any models in that unit have a minimum move characteristic. On a 4+, the unit cannot fall back this turn, so you can hold units in combat with you. Ordo Xenos, Esoteric Law. Whilst wars on the battlefield, roll d6 each time your opponent uses a stratagem. On a 5+, gain 1. Gain 1 command point. You see that one a hell of a lot. It's a quite useful little warlord trait. Ordo Malleus, Psychic Mastery. This warlord knows 1 additional psychic power from the Telethesia discipline and can attempt to manifest out 1 additional psychic power in your turn and deny 1 additional in your opponent's turn, which is really, really good if you ask me. Extra psychic powers casting more, denying more, always handy. So, yeah, even a full list of psychic powers, relics, and the points values. So it's a full supplement. So I've expanded on the Telephysi discipline to make it a full 9 spells. So 1 of each of the major autos and a standard 6. Okay. Right, so you can either choose to generate as normal, or you can choose one of the autos instead of your normal amount of spells. Obviously, you've got to belong to the auto. Terrify, subtract 1 leadership, and can't fire Overwatch. Psychic Fortitude, automatically pass a morale phase, a morale test. Dominate, pick an enemy model within 12. Vehicle rolls a 3d6 test. Sorry, that is not a vehicle. Roll 3 dice. If the test is equal to or greater than the model's leadership, that model can immediately shoot 1 weapon as if it were your shooting phase. So things like Imperial Assassins, taking a shot at your own characters, that sort of thing. Pretty unpleasant. Mental interrogation. Target an enemy character till the end of your next psychic phase. When resolving an attack made by that model, subtract 1 to hit roll. If your army is Battleforged, roll 3d6. If the result is equal to or greater than the model's leadership characteristic, you gain command point as well. Nice. But it's only got a range of 12. Psychic Pursuit. Pick an enemy character unit that only contains model. If manifested, select 1 enemy character unit that only contains models with a wounds characteristic of less than 10 and is within 18 inches. Then select 1 friendly auto unit within 6. Until the end of your shooting phase, that auto unit can target that character even if it's the closest. So you can pick out enemy characters with it and then allow one of your friendly units to assassinate him. Castigation. Pick an enemy unit within 18. Roll 3d6. If the total exceeds the lowest leadership characteristic in the unit, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. These are psychic powers what I would love to have for my Night Lords. I would be able to really upset players with this. Just being able to mess around with your leadership and cause additional effects due to it. So, please, GW, please. Things like that. So, Ordo Hereticus Ascertainment, I think. So, it has a range of 12. Okay. Select 1 enemy unit within 12 inches until the start of your psychic phase. Subtract 1 to the attack's characteristic down to a minimum of 1. Roll 2d6 if the total is greater to the highest leadership. Then, until the start of your next psychic phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, subtract 1 to hit. Again, that would be brilliant for me. Psychic Veil for Ordo Xenos. Pick a friendly Ordo Xenos unit within 6 of the Psyker. Hang on. If manifested until the start of your next psychic phase, friendly Ordo Xenos units within 6 of the Psyker can only be selected if the target of attacks they are the closest visible unit. So, in essence, you get units with Ordo Xenos units within the 6-inch aura get the effects of being a character, and can only be selected of targets for charges if they are within 6 of a charging unit. So that's quite nice. Power Through Knowledge by Ordo Malleus. If manifested, select 1 friendly Imperium infantry or biker unit within 12 until the start of your next psychic phase. Gains a 5+ input. Nice little psychic power there. So we'll just go through quickly the relics, and then we'll move on. So the Blade of Yordo is a power sword. the quarry type, it's a supercharged power sword, and the quarry type targets of your characters make it damage free instead of D3. Nice. Digital weapons make one additional close combat attack with a basic combat weapon. When resolving the attack, if a hit is scored, target suffers a 1 mortal wound at the end of the attack sequence. So it's just bosh. I hit, you take a mortal wound. End of. Black Shroud. Includes a model only. When resolving an attack made against this model, subtract 1 from the wound roll. So for Auto Hereticus, replaces the Inferno pistol. Resolving an attack with this weapon against a unit within half range of that, or has the Chaos or Psychic keyword, roll 2 dice and discard 1. So it's got a range of 12. If you're within 6 inches, it's 2 dice, like any other metal weapon, but against Chaos or Psychers, it's 2 dice, no matter the range. Biocorrosive poisons. When resolving an attack made by a melee weapon with this relic, the unit is not a vehicle or titanic. The wounds are on a 2+. So makes your Inquisitor fairly tasty. And the Tainted Blade for an Ordo Malleus power sword wielder makes it a supercharged power sword. In the fight phase, when the bearer is chosen to fight, he, on a roll of a d6 on a 1, suffers a mortal wound. When resolving an attack with this weapon, if the saving throw is failed, it can make 1 additional attack against the same unit of this weapon. This attack cannot generate extra. Pretty cool. Obviously, we've got the standard armory sort of things, the points values, and now onto a bit more of the showcase type things. So we've got some Agents of the Inquisition, some very cool looking conversions here. Got what looks like an Empire soldier holding a cyber baby, which is just weird and grimdark. Yeah, somebody's taken something and it's really messed up. Yeah, so we've got some very cool little conversions here. Some nice alternate ideas for Inquisitors. Obviously, you've got the guys from Blackstone Fortress with some really cool Redemptor style conversions. So, talking about the Indomitor's Crusade now. Looks like a bit of backstory about the Indomitor's Crusade. So, you know, that bit of time period between him coming back to life, and then where we are now in the world. A bit more chat about the war zones of 40k, including a bit of a heads up on how to do make certain camo colours. Just going on a bit further, got an interesting conversion from a Taurox. That's kind of cool. The reverse half track. I like it. Talking about desert terrain, and onto the Kill Team stuff this time. So how to use the amble in Kill Team. Pretty cool. So Age of Sigmar now, and onto the rules of engagement, which is another regular feature in White Dwarf. So obviously Javis Johnson's talking away, and this time it's more towards the narrative sort of type of game rather than a match play. And going on to it, they're talking about the ogres and how to run a ogre campaign. So you've got all the normal sort of things, because the campaign rules are have been featured in White Dwarf several times now. So you've got the advice on how to create your names for your ogres, the specific campaign events. And how to navigate the campaign path, and also the event tables and explanations on what rules apply for any given unit. Brewing table. So the effects of your battle broth last until the end of the battle. So the battle broth. At the start of each campaign, before armies are set up, you can brew a battle broth. To do so, pick 1 to 5 meat dice from your larder. Make sure you have a different coloured dice for each type of meat dice you are using to brew the battle broth, and declare to your opponent which colour corresponds to which type of meat dice. For example, the red dice are blood dice, the black dice are gristle dice. The dice picked up from your larder can be in any combination. For example, you could roll 5 dice, each of a different type, or 3 spicy and 2 hearty, and so on. After rolling the dice for the battle broth, add the potency modifier. And each of these will do something kind of weird. Such as, we'll go for a 3 to 4 casting rolls made by friendly ogre wizards are made on 1 dice instead of 2. That's on a very low score, but on a very high score, friendly ogre wizards can attempt to cast 1 additional spell per each of your hero phases. So the benefits for rolling for getting good results, and negatives for getting bad. Obviously now you've got your campaign outcomes and a more powerful campaign roster. Now for some reason that's circular, don't know why. I'm sure obviously it's relevant to the symbol, but I'm not sure if it is relevant to the game itself. So now on to another short story based on the ever hungry ogres. So we'll skip past that. Tale of 4 warlords. So we've got Matt Hudson, Alex Puzinska, I do apologise, Steve Wren and Ben Johnson's armies. So what we've got here, we've got some Stormcast Eternals in a groovy dark red colour scheme. We've got the Light Kings, so more on Alex's Nurgle army, including how they've gone about doing the bases. How she's gone about doing the bases, should I say. My ever favourite Squigs, because, well, Squigs, that's pretty much the only thing you need to, for a reason for me to like them. And they do look like they've got some of the old jungle terrain from way back on their bases as well. And the weird fish people, the Ideneth Deepken, and a particularly cool, hippocampus type thing with an elf on it. So this month's battle report is Beastgrave between the Grashnax Despoilers and the Scaeuf's Wild Hunt. These models are absolutely sensational. The Beastmen look great. The improved the Beastmen range a hell of a lot over the years. They're really nice looking models, but the Centaur style and Satire style Wood Elves are just outstanding. I think they look great. As always, it's a battle report, so I'm just going to skip to the end. And now it's something about the Apex Predator, which is using, including the use of this new character card, what you get with this White Dwarf. Obviously, so there's some tactics on how to use the new units and these two new factions, and explanations on what they do. It does appear to be a fairly lengthy article as well. So on to more new rules. This is Blackstone Fortress, and this particular one is the Eldar Solitaire. So yeah, the Solitaire rules and stats for them in Blackstone Fortress, and how to use them in all your Blackstone Fortress campaign type things. So this is an interview with Dan Abnett, and he's talking about the Tiny First and Only, and their adventures throughout the Sabbath Crusade. Obviously, it's quite a hell of a lot in there. Some nice, interesting artwork based on a couple of the characters as well. One of the characters from Vernhive, and good old Try Again Bragg. I always like that guy. But Major Rawn was a bit of a favourite of mine. I did like the animosity between gaunt and rawn, should I say. Some more stuff about what we've been getting up to over the years, and a absolutely humongous Horus Heresy back in. An absolutely humongous Horus Heresy Emperor's Children army. This is huge. This has been done over 6 years, making a very spectacular force. And yeah, we've obviously got all the big guys as well. Bit of everything in there. It's a lovely looking army. So that looks like a rebased and re-equipped Fulgrim. Looks like he's giving him Fireblade rather than the Layering Sword on his. So it's not that curved sword, it's a traditional one. And a couple of my favourite things in there. It's like a Leviathan. Who's this guy? That's Saul Tarvitz. That's a conversion to make Saul Tarvitz for his army as well. So yeah, I've got some of the drills and some very cool Space Marines on lizards, which is a nice idea. Nice cavalry unit there. Finally, we've got some Tactica by Jay Clare about the Bard of Laketown and how to use him and get the best out of him. And obviously including his giant catapult as well. And there we are. That is the last of it. A couple of photos for some of the guys in the studio have been getting up to when trying to avoid looking like they're working. Yeah. So next month we've got Ghosts and Flesh Tearers. So that's going to be interesting to see. So there you are. That's this White Dwarf. Obviously, from a personal perspective, it's 40k centric. This is this one. 40k players, particularly Imperial ones, are going to be interested. Obviously, with all the Inquisition stuff in there, but I think any 40k player would be I'd definitely advise to have a read of the Inquisitorial stuff. As always, got to thank everybody for watching this. So if you like what you see, you want to catch some of our tutorials, please hit like and subscribe. Make sure you click that bell as well, because it gives you notifications whenever we upload a new video. Secondly, if you want to assist us, check us out on Patreon. You get early access to our videos, plus a bunch of other benefits as well for being a Patreon. Massive, it is a massive help. And while talking about Patreon, I would like to thank the Orc Boys, Matt, Ludwig Offbauer, Warren, D-Wack, Agnes of Dawn, Mark and Dave. You're our top paying Patreons, so thank you for your assistance. It's hugely important to us and we really do appreciate it. Also, if you want to help us in a different way, check out the Outpost in Sheffield. Really good local gaming store, do loads of tournaments, and we also have your standard sort of 15 to 20% discounts on all your hobby needs. If you go through our affiliate link, we also get 5% store credit for anything you buy at no cost to you, so it just straight up helps us, and you get your regular discounts as well. So thank you for watching this, guys, and we will catch you in the next one. Ta-ra.